everybody. This is that Boondocking Diva coming at you with another video. This time, I'm talking to Debra, and she's in Rwanda. So stay tuned if you'd like to hear more about her story. All right, hey everybody. Here's Debra, and we're in Rwanda hanging out at her place. Debra, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you for asking. My name is Debra Greenwood, and by profession, I'm a retired registered nurse and a retired clinical psychologist. I grew up in the great state of California in Los Angeles, and most recently I lived in Georgia in Stone Mountain.
Oh,
and
wow.
I still have connections there. In fact, I'll be going back there when I leave here in a few months to visit friends, see my doctors, just kind of be back in the last great place that I lived.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Stone Mountain because most of my audience we're into VanLife and RV life. And
Stone Mountain Park.
Yeah, we took a trip and camped there. It's beautiful.
Yes, it is.
I can't believe you actually live there.
Yeah, it's a great place. I love Stone Mountain
Okay,
Park.
cool.
So I want to add to that. I mentioned retired.
Mm-hmm.
And all my life I've been an activist.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that I have now, I don't know if morphed is the correct word, but I have now become what I would consider a Pan-Africanist and an environmentalist. And that is what is driving the decisions that I'm making in my life today. So
Nice.
In 2018, I took a trip to 5 African countries. This trip was prompted by the results of my African ancestry, maternal results, the results on my mom's side. And I found out that my maternal roots are in Sierra Leone, among the Timni people.
Nice.
So that's prompted me to go and meet all of my folks. If you're not Black American, it may be hard to understand that growing up, just knowing that you were, quote, African, it was a very painful part of my identity, not knowing where do my people come from. So when Dr. Rick Kittles, shout out to Dr. Rick Kittles and Gina Page, began providing this service to help Black Americans or other folks learn where they come from in Africa, it has just been, I can't tell you. I mean, I cried when I found out this was part of my identity.
Yeah.
So I had to go to Sierra Leone and meet some folks. So I didn't want to just go to one country and go back. So I decided if I'm going to make this trip, let me get the maximum bang for my buck. So I went to 5 African countries. I went to the first 4 were the contiguous countries of Sierra Leone, Liberia, Cote d'Ivoire, and Ghana. And then it was time to party. And that's when I flew down to South Africa. Had a really great time. It was interesting that as I visited these different countries, and what I saw is that the further east I went, it seemed like the people were doing better. For example, I remember when I landed in Cote d'Ivoire, noticing that the people were larger, they're bigger, taller, and a little bit bigger, not fat, but bigger than the folks in Sierra Leone. Same with Ghana. And then, I just attributed that to how well the country's taking care of its people. So that was an interesting revelation. So Ghana is where I met Sister Amakas from One Africa. She has a resort down there called One Africa in Elmina, Ghana. And I was talking to her about moving to the continent. She had been there for like 30 years, coming out of New York. And I was talking about Ghana, which that's the place most Black Americans want to go to. And I keep saying there are more countries in Africa than just Ghana.
Yes.
54 countries. So she started talking to me about Rwanda. And she goes, it's the cleanest city, the cleanest country. Kigali is the cleanest city in in Africa, and I go, ding.
Uh-huh.
And then she goes, plastic bags have been outlawed for years. Ding, ding. And then she goes, and they're more than 50% of the parliament is women. Ding, ding, ding.
Oh, yes.
I was like, that was basically all I needed to hear. Okay. And so I began doing my research about Rwanda, and I have to I have a great deal of gratitude to the unapologetic nomads who have been traveling around the world, have landed in Rwanda, and did a series of videos about life here. And then from there, I learned about the residential tourists and others who are here and who are vlogging about their experiences.
Right. Yeah. Beautiful. How does your daughter feel about you moving here?
Well, she had some concerns, of course, at first, as I guess any family member who cares about you would. But I have to give Jay Essence props.
Yes, shout out to Jay.
Produced a number of videos that were real down to earth. She included her mother. Her mother and I are contemporaries. And I think it really, and then Jay held a gathering around Thanksgiving. It's called Usgiving. And I was able to send a picture of Jay and I together to my daughter to say, I'm in good hands. And Jay's actually doing things to support seniors here. Right. Or as we like to be called, queenagers.
I love that. Yeah. I love that. Queenagers.
Yeah, queenagers. So
beautiful.
And so it's really lovely that the younger people, like the residential tourists, will organize activities for us. Like we went to Lake Muhazi a couple weeks ago, and that's a beautiful, beautiful resort. You just had a chance to see the beauty of the country. It's gorgeous.
Yeah,
I love it here.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I love it.
And so how long have you been here in Rwanda?
I moved here on November the 4th.
This year?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You're brand new then.
By the 8th, I moved into my apartment.
Now, did you leave a lot of things back, like storage-wise, in the U.S.?
No. I sold. Well, let me put it this way. I sold basically all the furniture. I knew I wasn't going to bring any of that. Gave away most of the clothes that I didn't feel like I needed. I'm not a clothes horse anyway. The main thing that I held on to were like papers, important papers, books, and other little personal items. Things that may have a sentimental value. Yeah. So when I moved here with one large suitcase and one like carry-on or like overnighter. Yeah. And because I just didn't want to bring a lot of stuff. I didn't want to be bothered with that. So when I go back, I'll be bringing some of those other belongings with me on my return visit.
Okay, and that's just with relatives?
Yeah, with my daughter.
Okay, cool. And so you plan to visit the U.S. every once in a while, or just?
Well, with my visa, I have to leave every 6 months. I have to leave the country. And so this first departure, I will be headed to the United States. After that, I'm actually hoping to visit every country in the continent. That's my goal for the next 10 years.
Love it.
If I could visit like 5 countries a year, I mean, I could meet that goal within 10 years.
So the visa you say you have is the
V12.
V12.
So it's a 10-year visa.
Okay.
And that was a funny story because my daughter lives near Washington, D.C. And so I spent time with her and her family before my departure. And so I went down to the Rwandan embassy to get my visa. And at first they were saying, oh, we'll mail it to you. I said, well, I was actually hoping I could get it today. Okay. And so they're right down from DuPont Circle in Washington, D.C. So I walked down there and hung out there for a little while, came back, and then I was able to get it.
Oh,
so,
wow.
Yeah, it was great.
That's awesome.
Another thing that was really fascinating, I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, and our national office is directly across the street from the Rwandan embassy. Now, how about that?
That helps a little.
How about that?
Beautiful.
So I moved here to basically to retire.
Mm-hmm.
There are two reasons. One is I wanted to retire in my dream house, which is an off-grid, fully sustainable house with rainwater collection, solar power, and a composting system where both human and food wastes are collected and composted for later use as fertilizer.
Okay. How long do you think it's going to take you to finish your house?
Well, I just bought the land on the 16th of December.
Congratulations.
Very excited about that.
Yes.
And one other thing in doing my research is I learned about a country called Nelplast, Nelplast, out of Ghana. And that company was founded by Nelson Boateng, who is the plastic, he uses plastic refuse to create pavers,
Mm-hmm.
bricks, and
Okay.
he just built a plastic house in Ghana.
Okay.
And that is what gave me the idea that, I would like to do that because I like the idea of taking this plastic out of the refuse streams. It's killing the planet. It's killing our oceans. It's killing the marine life. It's killing us. I don't know if most people know this, but because of all the plastic that's around, we eat the equivalent of one credit card worth of plastic a week.
Ooh.
Okay?
Didn't know that.
So that's some deep stuff. So
Jeez.
when I would shop in Stone Mountain, I go to the grocery store, I always refuse the plastic bags. Even if I forgot my reusable bags, I get them in paper.
Mm-hmm.
And I would always tell the cashier, plastic is evil. And I really believe that to be true, just by virtue of what it's done to the planet.
Yeah.
So I love the idea of taking what has been bad and making it into something that
Beautiful. So
has a company called Jenge. I hope I'm saying that right.
Mm-hmm.
And she does the same thing, but she builds pavers. And they have different grades of pavers, some that are more heavyweight than others.
Mm-hmm.
And then also in Kenya, there's a company called Eco Tiles, and they do roof tiles. So I'm like, I got all the building materials out of from these three countries.
Yeah.
And so the plan was to ship those in to Rwanda.
Okay.
Well, guess what I learned on December 14th? I learned that there's a gentleman, a businessman called Prosper Muhira, I hope I'm saying his name correctly, who has partnered with the Rwanda Environmental Management Authority to build a plant right here in Kigali that produces the bricks, the pavers, and the tiles. So I'm like, oh my God, I have everything we need here.
Right.
And so I'm hoping that, I'll tell you, my dream is to be the first customer. That is my dream.
And that was Prosper
Muhirwa.
Okay.
I hope I'm saying it correctly.
Okay.
And I hope he forgives me if I didn't. And since that time, I've been working to identify and buy the land, which we finally did on December 16th. I'm working with a wonderful architect, Johnson Bigway, of Futuristic Design Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't going to buy the land until I got his approval. And he said yes. So that's when I decided, okay, let's move forward.
And so any other future projects besides building your new home?
Well, one of the things that I noticed as I've gone around to some of the more rural areas is that there are a lot of schools that were built by different churches.
Mm-hmm.
And I spoke to a young man who went to one of those schools. And he talked about growing up feeling very positive about the white people who ran the schools because they would give them candy.
Mm-hmm.
And not so positive about his own black people. And I think we as Black Americans and other people, Black people from the diaspora, have a responsibility to begin to change that narrative for our own people here.
Yeah, absolutely.
We we have a certain skill set. We have more money than most of the people here, and I think we need to put that to good use to help people throw off the shackles of neocolonialism. Because unfortunately, it is rampant throughout the continent, and we've got to work hard to eradicate that kind of thinking in some of our people.
Well said. All right. So anybody who's interested in moving to Rwanda, what would you say? Obviously, you want them to visit first.
Well, I didn't visit first.
Oh, you didn't?
I visited online. But I just knew based on what I was seeing, I would watch videos of people driving around on the streets.
Yeah.
I'd look at the streets. I'd look at the houses.
So you had visited those 5 other countries, but never Rwanda.
I had never set foot online until November 4th. But I just knew this was the place I wanted to live. Yeah. Because the values that this country lives by are values that I embrace too. There's they haven't done it in a while because of COVID, but the 4th Saturday of every month, there's a program called Umuganda, in which the country comes together and engages in cleaning up. Yeah, which is why it's so clean here. Yeah, unless you're 65 or older, you're exempt. But I would still love to participate in that. And I just think it's a beautiful thing to do. And those are the kind of values that I really love and cherish. I don't know any other country. Maybe European, but I ain't going to Europe. I want to be with black folks. Okay, but this is the only country that I know of that has these kinds of values. And I have to really take my hat off to President Paul Kagame, who's led this country out of that dark period of genocide into a much brighter day with what I believe is a wonderful, wonderful future ahead. So I really have a lot of respect and admiration for him.
Well, thank you for sharing your story with us.
You're very welcome.
So inspiring.
Thank you.
Wonderful testimony to how people can move to Rwanda and live it up in peace.
Do your research.
Yeah, absolutely.
I came here to live in tranquility, peace, and I'm going to add service to that.
Peace, tranquility, and service. Love it.
I want to serve people.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for watching. And thank you, Debra, for sharing. We're signing out. Bye, everybody.